implying that you've had more governmental executive decision-making experience than your opponent. Now, in his news conference on August 24th, President Eisenhower was asked to give one example of a major idea of yours that he adopted. His reply was, and I'm quoting, "If you give me a week, I might think of one. I don't remember."
Famous moments from presidential debates over the last 40 years. We're just kind of teeing it up, getting ready for the big one tonight, Trump versus Biden. Welcome back. My next guest, he's been a conservative political consultant for over 4 decades, a very close ally and personal friend to the president, and of course, one of the main targets in the Russia investigation hoax. And I call it that because I've got some evidence to back it up. Roger Stone, welcome to Real America. Hello, Mr. Stone. How are you, sir?
I'm delighted to be with you.
We want to thank you so much. We know that I'm sure you're living life free and to the fullest after everything you've been put through. Just before we went on the air, I want to let folks know I was speaking with Roger off camera and reading a letter to him that I just received from Senator Lindsey Graham's office that came from the office of the Director of National Intelligence, John Ratcliffe. In this letter, which we'll dig into tomorrow night on the show even more, we'll get it up on the screen, it talks about and shows proof of what was going on back in the summer of 2016 and how the Hillary Clinton campaign was using the hoax of Russian collusion with the Trump campaign to try and get away from folks talking about her cleaning her emails and cleaning the server. Roger, you have been through it all over the last 4 years because of this Russian scandal. Right now on camera with me, have you ever had anything to do with Russia and President Trump trying to sway or screw the elections back in 2016?
Absolutely, positively not. The one Russian that I did meet in 2016 turned out to be an FBI informant sent to entrap me by James Comey. Of course, you won't find that part in the Mueller report, even though I've documented all of it, including this gentleman's informant visas, bringing him into the country for this specific purpose. The Russian collusion delusion was exactly that. This was a politically motivated, not legally motivated, effort to undo the results of the 2016 election. We knew from previous declassified documents that there was never any legitimate legal basis to believe that Donald Trump or his campaign or his family or his associates were colluding to affect the outcome of the election with the Russian state. They spent $30 million and 3 years. Despite what Andrew Weissman now says, they had broad, unlimited legal authority to look at anything they wanted. And I can tell you firsthand, they did. And you know what they found when it came to Russian collusion? Absolutely nothing.
No, according to this letter, Roger, what I'm reading in this letter, the impeachment of this whole Russian hoax, let's be real, it was to cover their asses. Plain and simple, folks. Sorry to be so crass here, but I'm reading, again, this is from John Ratcliffe, Director of National Intelligence. It says right here, according to his handwritten notes, former CIA Director Brennan several times briefed President Obama and other senior national security officials on the intelligence, including the alleged approval by Hillary Clinton back in July of 2016 of a proposal from one of her foreign policy advisors to vilify Donald Trump by stirring up a scandal claiming interference by Russian security officials. It's right there. There's handwritten notes. Why didn't we get to see those? Why didn't we get to see what Comey and these guys were doing behind the scenes?
No, you're absolutely right. The people who made millions of dollars from the oligarchs around Vladimir Putin were all associated with Hillary Clinton. The real Russian collusion is with her campaign. The phony Steele dossier, which she paid for by money laundering the payments through a West Coast law firm, was prepared with the assistance of Russian intelligence assets. You want to find the Russian collusion in 2016? There it is. But the country has been put through so much. The president has been put through much, because much of this was an effort not to allow him to govern, and not to allow him to implement his reform agenda. I can tell you what my family and I have been through. I still pray every night for General Flynn because of what he's being put through on the basis of a corrupt FBI, a corrupt Justice Department, a corrupt White House that cooked this thing up. Now, I'm old enough to have worked for Richard Nixon. And liberals told us during Watergate over and over again, no person is above the law, they said. No person is above the law. We know definitively that Barack Obama and Joe Biden and others were in the room when they decided to move ahead with this effort to spy on and discredit the president. Why are they above the law?
Yeah, well, it depends, I guess, who's enforcing the law. That's why we need President Trump in for 4 more years. Roger, not tons of time left, but I want to fast forward to today and what's going on with the left and this mail-in mass balloting. We've seen already fraud and corruption in 3 or 4 different states, from Wisconsin to Pennsylvania to Minnesota. It looks like, to me, they're trying to steal this one.
This is just the tip of the iceberg. We're going to have a ballot fraud in the old-fashioned conventional ways, people voting twice, dead people coming back to vote, people who have died or move around and somebody else voting in their place, people who aren't registered and aren't eligible voting. Those are all classic standard methods of voter fraud that happen in every urban country, every urban state in the country, every urban center in the country. Mail-in balloting is just a small portion of what we're going to see, but it is an open invitation for voter fraud. Let's be clear. We are not talking about absentee ballots.
Right.
What we're
Big
talking about is when the state of New Jersey, for example, mails a ballot to every voter on their list, whether they've requested one or not, whether the list has been cleaned or not.
Right.
So I expect you're going to see a contentious fight immediately after the election.
Roger, they're wrapping me up because we have an abbreviated version tonight because the debate is coming up here in just minutes, of course. I want to thank you so much for coming on. I know you don't do a lot of press because, let's be real, they have not treated you nicely over the last 4 years. But you have an open invitation, sir, on my show here on Real America on One America News Network. Thank you so much for setting the record straight. And I'm glad that Senator Graham sent me this letter literally right before you came on because the timing was perfect. We'll get this letter up online as well. And Roger, we'll see you back on. Maybe later this week we can talk about post-debate, how well the president did versus Biden. How about that?
I would be privileged to come back on and happy to do it. Many thanks.
Thank you, Roger Stone. Appreciate it so much. All right, coming up next in tonight's Patriot Report, we're profiling a guy you may know online as the political cowboy. Chad Prather joins Real America.